Hi. Good morning, everyone. Thank you. Thanks for coming along. That was a bit of Kenny Rogers. Just dropped in to see what condition my condition is in. First, a quick introduction to myself. My name is Todd Halfpenny. I'm the mobile technical architect at a company called Mobile Caddy. We're an ISV with a application development framework for mobilizing Salesforce, really. It's quite a jam-packed session, so I'll try and speed through it. There is hopefully some time for questions at the end. If you've got burning ones, then please feel free to raise your hands and we'll try and cover them as we go. On with the talk. Einstein answers Kenny Rogers with an offline mobile app. Catchy title, but what's it about? What we're going to do is use Einstein Vision services with a mobile app that's fully network resilient. And so I'm going to talk through the architecture, some of the gotchas in setting up this application. There will be a couple of demos. Hopefully it's all working and you can see my phone. Please cross our fingers for that. So Kenny, what? The idea being you might have some field staff going out. In this case, we've got nurses, say, in the field, or maybe people in pharmacies wanting to identify what a skin condition someone might come. They come in with a complaint. You want to be able to do this. And we're using Einstein to help this. Could be used, I suppose, for other field staff, so service or sales engineers, people out in the field. We're going to be doing this on a mobile application. Cover the field staff. And of course, we're going to be using Einstein now. So Einstein's quite relatively new. This is my first real kind of dig dive into it, so I'm not going to say it's going to be astonishing, but hopefully give you some ideas. So what are we going to cover in this? The trailheads do things like identifying cats and hot dogs and stuff. Not really what I think people in the Salesforce ecosystem are really going to be using it for. So we're going to be using it, a real kind of life use case, identifying skin conditions, like maybe measles or shingles or the like. I'm going to be covering some integration code that we're going to put on the platform, how we're interacting with Einstein. I'm going to be building a custom mobile app that talks to Einstein, talks to Salesforce, and all that kind of stuff. The takeaways, really we're going to be talking about what we can do with Einstein that's not cats and dogs and things like that. Thinking about offline behavior for mobile applications as well. And of course, I want you all to be listening to more Kenny Rogers as well. I've got to do this now. I think I just... I think that's hopefully Einstein-esque. Einstein accessing and data sets. First thing to do if you want to get playing is create an account for yourself on the old kind of MetaMind Einstein servers, and then we want to link it up to our org. In my case, I was using a developer org. It could be a Scratch org, of course. And to get an account, it's really very simple. Go to this website, log in. You then get a PEM file, so a certificate file, that you can then upload into your org that will then take care of Salesforce to Einstein traffic and transactions. The next thing I did on my journey of creating this application was I installed Rennie Winkelmeyer's excellent Einstein Playground application. It's up on GitHub. I'm actually using an older version. He's continually updating. It's really, really good. Takes away a lot of hard work. And because this is a kind of dev talk, I've put some code up. I say code, they're commands. I'm cloning a repository down. I'm then hooking it up using Salesforce DX to my dev org, and I'm then shunting my code, or his code, up into my dev org. You don't have to take a copy of any of this. The slides will all be available elsewhere. So we've done this, and now what we need to do is create our data set. So the data set, in my case, because I'm using the Vision API, is going to be all the images, and I'm going to be categorizing them into labels. So example here, so this is, actually let my videos run right forwards. Where's my mouse? Can anyone see my mouse pointer?
Yeah, it's on the Excel.
Oh, that's not my, I've got two mice now. Oh, you're kidding me. 3 is a magic number. But anyway, yeah, so what I've done is I've put all my images into 3 folders on my desktop. I've got one called freckles, one called shingles, and one called measles. Each of them contains some really lovely photos of freckles. Not the worst skin condition, but usually you're ginger along with it, so that's pretty bad. So we put this into a zip file, and I've uploaded it to a public web server. And then going to, my videos all. I've uploaded my server, and then in my Lightning Dev org, I've going to this René's brilliant application here, and he's got all these fancy stuff ready for me. I can click on image classification with 2 mouse pointers, amazingly. And this has sucked in my my zip file that I've put up, and it's showing me, I've put the zip file URL in here, and it's going to consume that zip file, take those labels, and then create me a data set based upon this. We can see here now that I've got freckles, shingles, and measles in here, and that's cool. So my images are up, and the next thing I need to do is to train my data set. The examples online are all like, yeah, cool, click train. And I was like, it's already been too easy, so I'm like, this is brilliant. I'll click train. I think that says success. Cool, let's have a look at my model. 1% running. Refresh that. Oh, this is all going too well. Come on. 1% failed. Of course it has. So I thought, I don't know what's happening. I haven't got any information from this. What am I going to do? So I added some more images to my data set. I created larger images. I renamed my images with lowercase, uppercase. You name it. I was, many days on this. And this is what it looks like on the internet when you want to train a data set. This was me. So I, renamed my images. Yep. No. Basically, the next 15 minutes of the talk is just watching this GIF. So don't attempt to do any Einstein. No, not really. And so what did I do? It's like an engineering idea. I thought, well, I'm going to remove René's brilliant abstraction of this and have a look at using curl to see what's going on with the Einstein server. What you can do is using your PEM file, your certificate files, you can get a token that can then be used in a curl command up the top here, and then put in the model name that you get from René's thing. And by running this, I got some interesting output here. It says to train a data set and create a model, the data set must contain at least 40 examples. I only had like 8 pictures of freckles. It was never going to fly. So I thought this is cool. And also, my first PR, at least, is 2 words. I thought this is cool. I can get them here. There are other tools you can use to create these data models. There's some Chrome extensions for gathering loads of images and buckling them up. You can use share and pics. I probably should have bothered doing that, but I didn't. Instead, I ran into a lot of gotchas whilst falling off the bed over and over. First one we've seen, minimum 40 examples in total. Minimum 10 examples per label. Maximum 2,000 by 2,000 pixels. Right, I ran into every one of these. There's probably more. I was just lucky. None of these are documented as far as I could see and wasted me a lot of time. So hopefully you can spread the word. It was very sad. But once I got my my data model trained, I could then use René's tool to test it out, see what's going on here. So I'm now going to select my model from in here, and I'm going to drop in an image of some freckles because they're dear to my heart. And we can see what's meant to happen once we've got it all in place. Look at that, it's just blooming amazing. 100% freckles, which is cool. I mean, compared to shingles and measles, it's probably quite good. But you get a lot more information back as well from Einstein. So I've got freckles and these other things saying, no, you're not okay and not okay. But yeah, handy stuff.
Are those all your freckles?
They were not all my freckles. No. I can't make claim to those freckles. I should probably credited whoever freckles they were. I'm sorry. So now I have Einstein working and it's taking images and it's giving me back the results I want. And I'm not frustrating myself with training the model anymore. What I then want to do is I want to expose this this image classification service to my mobile application that's already talking to my org. By the way, we'll get to that in a minute. And so what I want to do is create a custom REST endpoint to expose our application when it's online. And I could have used the token that I got from MetaMind to talk my mobile app to talk direct to them, but seeing as my mobile app is already authenticated to Salesforce, I'm reusing that auth flow. For anyone who's dealt with sort of kind of OAuth, you just want to do it as little times as you can, so I'm just reusing it. Here's some Apex. I'm not by day an Apex developer, so please don't haul me over the coals for this, but essentially I've created a REST endpoint that's taking post requests. I'm passing in base 64 string, which is my image converted to base 64. I'm getting my dataset name from the URL, so I can call like a version 5, version 6, etc. And then this is all cool code that I nicked from Rene. It's looping through some bits and pieces. But the interesting bit down here that does the cool stuff is service predict blob. And I'm passing it the name of my model and then my my file blob taken from my base 64. So really, my coding part, I've had to do very little to get this exposed. And that's really nice. So I've got Einstein available to be spoken to via REST service now, and my models are working. But I did mention a mobile application. So being from Mobile Caddy, I thought I'd use Mobile Caddy to build my mobile application. And this gives me a cross-platform app, so it can run on Windows Desktop, iOS, Android with the same code base. And out the box, it's completely network resilient, so I don't have to worry about syncing of anything else. That'll be taken care of for me. But I do need to worry about photo capture. Obviously, I want to take a photo of my skin conditions, get that classified against Einstein, and then update a contact record. I'm adding a couple of custom fields to my contact to store this information in. There's no biggie, we don't need to cover that, I'm hoping. And obviously, offline considerations for my Einstein service. We'll have to keep that in mind for a bit later on. Yeah, so some code. Let's have a look at some code and commands I use to build my app. So using Mobile Caddy, I can run this one little command, and it will create me on my local developer's machine a web application that basically contains everything I need to start mobilizing Salesforce. In there, I can say, right, get me my accounts, get me my contacts, get me X, Y, Z, and all that kind of stuff is there for me to go. And the application will work with as an encrypted offline first approach. So in my app, I'm going to be syncing my accounts and my contacts that are relevant for me, and then I'm taking photos of my contacts and sending them back up, classifying them, and all that offline data stored encrypted. So let's see some code here. Sorry, all this is a bit abstract, so yeah, chime in if anything's a bit weird. But the API, I'm exposed. Let's say I want to get my account records. I can just say dev utils, read records of account. I then get back an array of counts, nice and peachy, or I can use some kind of sockle in there to pull back individual records or that kind of thing. So my application now with this kind of code is sucking down my accounts and contacts, and I can display it on the UI as a web app. I need to do photo capture. So for a hybrid mobile application, so one written as like a JavaScript web app, we have access to things like the camera quite simply. Camera, get picture. That's quite simple. Because my application here is I'm storing the images in a base 64 string in a text field against the record, I want it to be make sure it's short enough to fit in. So I'm giving it kind of a 480 pixels width. And it returns me a base 64 image string. That's quite easy. So hello Einstein, yeah, oh yeah, this is London calling. Of course it is London's calling, here we are. How do I contact my REST service now within my code? First of all, I need to make sure I can use the OAuth flow that I've already got. I use a simple init command here. This is all just to show how easy it is. There's a couple of lines of code, and I'm passing in my access token. And then actually to call Einstein, all I got to do now is do an HTTP post against my custom REST endpoint, passing in the base 64 string with my access token in. Right, so I'm trying to show you a demo now. Oh, it's running very slow time. I'm going to try it and find my mouse pointer. Then I'll see, okay, it's one. Right. So I need it over here. Oh no, I need it over here. So I've got this hopefully hooked up to my phone. It's running. I'm just showing it in. Here. It's not showing my phone. Show this again. Of course it's not showing my phone. Sorry. That looks... Yay! Okay. So people with fancy computers can do some really nice stuff where you can see really nice mirroring screens. I've got a Linux machine and an old Android, so we'll just have to deal with this. So this is my application here running. You can see I've got a list of accounts. I'm going to have a look in my Edge Communications. Everyone knows that app. Can I scroll? I can scroll. And I'm going to choose Conway Twitty. He, by the way, is a country legend. Someone else you should also listen to. And I've got his contact record here. He's country legend 2, in fact. Shows how much I've been taking this. So I've got a button on here, take photo, choose file. So I'm going to take a photo now. I don't think you can see this on this. It's a shame. But I'm going to take a photo. I've got a nice tattoo on my arm. Hopefully we'll see it when it comes up on the screen in a minute. I've taken a photo and click OK, that's what I want to use. It's on Sideway. It says Salesforce User Group, which is pretty cool. Got a whole load of debugging stuff coming across here. And look at this. I'm 100% Ohana with my, with my skin condition of Salesforce User Group. So what's happened there is with my JavaScript web application through Mobile Caddy, I've stored my contact. It's sent up to Salesforce. I've also asked Einstein directly via Salesforce, can you categorize this image for me? It's come back and I've updated my contact like this. So that's, apart from not being able to see the screen, that worked better than I thought it would. Right, let's play. Oh, there's the mouse pointer. Jump back to the... Oh, man. I should have worn my glasses. I'm just going to click until something happens. There it is. Cool, right. Online demo. So that was, I had a connection, that was fine. What happens if I've not got a connection? What am I going to do about my Einstein classification? So if you're interested in offline mobile stuff, there's another talk later by Keir I recommend you go to. He'll be talking about what's exposed in the Salesforce SDK for database, CRUD, read, write, and offline storage. That's kind of part of the problem. If you're building a complex application, you might need to know about versioning, having many versions of your mobile app out in the space at the same time, conflict resolution, and also dealing with Apple iTunes submission, which I don't ever want anyone to do. It's horrible. But because I'm using Mobile Caddy, I don't have to worry about that stuff, which is cool. That's my sales pitch gone. But what about Einstein? If I haven't got connection, how am I doing my classification? So in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to store the image file against my contact. Obviously, I can't call Einstein. And then what happens is when I get a connection again, I will sync my contact back up to Salesforce. And then I've written some more Apex. This is just nuts. This is brilliant. I've written a trigger. So before insert, before update, if I see that my contact has an image but no classification against it, my trigger will fire off and call Einstein as well and say, hey, look, I've got this. Can you sort me out? It's a future call out. I don't know, but it's, people in Salesforce will know. And that calls Einstein and says, hey, can you do this? And then updates my contact again, which is all quite funky. I thought I was going to show you code for that or not. I can show you an offline demo if you want. I'm just worried when we're out of time. I take questions. Let's do that. Callum, we might come back to this before we do. So where can you go to next? Really, so with our application, really, you want to be able to do. Let's say you're using this application as a nurse in the field, but Einstein's come back with something that's obviously wrong to you. We want to be able to kind of recorrect and keep training Einstein as we go. So that would be good for our app. Much bigger data sets, of course. I've got like 13 pictures of freckles. That's not going to help anyone in real life. Batch updates, so I can update multiple contacts. None of my triggers deal with that kind of stuff. And yeah, what about Einstein Vision and other? I suppose at the moment, with the limited use cases in the world for not just Einstein Vision, but the other Einstein services, it's really in our hands to start pushing the boundaries of where the use cases are for this. In fact, I spoke to one of my brothers. He's sitting here. He's solo admin at a company, and he has service engineers going out, and they might be on the 40th floor of a tower block trying to replace a window handle or something like this. What would be cool if they had an app that said, right, take a photo of the handle. It could come out and say, oh yeah, this is handle XYZ. It's 4 years old. You've got one in the van downstairs in the car park, or you don't have one in the van, but there's one in the local depot. And that kind of stuff would be really useful. But we're not seeing that in the wild yet. And Trailhead with cats, they could do with, I think, really business casing it. Next steps for you, yeah, sign up to Einstein, hook it up to your org, have a play. Don't forget the gotchas, or you'll waste days of your life. And yeah, if you want to talk about mobile stuff, come and talk to me as well. Slides will be available online, but here's all the references, loads of great stuff. Yeah, specs, trailheads, all that gubbins, everything out there is really, really useful. And I could take any questions. Sorry, I rushed it up quite quick. Yes, Richard.
So, just quickly, so I think that was a very good demonstration of a real practical use. So if you were going to do that for real, for dermatology, would you maybe give a mobile app to some physicians, and they could do all the learning for you and classify the images and upload them, and then consumers could maybe go to that as a public service and get their moles checked?
Yeah, I think opening something like this to public service would be kind of useful. Obviously, you have to be careful with health. Like hypochondriacs out there would just, like, I mean, you smash your API allowance right in a day.
It's already used by Babylon.
Oh right, okay.
They have an app using machine learning and classification, and they are helping NHS. They run their trial outsourcing in a country, I don't remember which one, and now they brought it back to London.
Oh, that's brilliant. Yeah.
They're
So you could, yeah. So actually, I suppose, I mean, if you're taking generic terms like not this kind of app, but I would think you'd want to probably look for already existing data sets if they were there. I mean, medical councils and stuff would have them, but yeah. I mean, having it where it can continually learn through real expertise input would be great, I think. Yeah. Thank you. Any other questions about any of this? No? Cool. I think I'm 2 minutes over now, so I should probably stop. But if anyone wants to come and see the offline demo, come and chat and we can see it. Thanks very much. Cheers.